Hi, everybody. Welcome back to HR Are You Listening? This is your host, Marta Fernandez, and this is going to be an exciting episode. We have back Eva Bendaña as our amazing guest today. If you haven't heard the first episode with Eva Bendaña, she was actually our first guest, and we had an amazing conversation about her experience in a call center. We thought it would be good to follow up with her and for her to share more stories about her experience in the call center. And with no further ado, let me reintroduce you again, Eva Bendaña. Welcome, Eva. How are you today?
Hi, I'm so happy to be back. I'm so excited to continue talking about my crazy experiences.
How's your day so far? Everything good?
Everything's great. Yes. Saturday, sun is shining. Beautiful.
Awesome. Just to recap, we were having a recent conversation in the first episode about you having challenging moments with coworkers, and you were able to overcome them by being true to yourself, by being self-aware about yourself and understanding, who you are and not give to other people's jealousies or ambitions, and be kind also because you became a good friend to the person who did you wrong at some point in time. And you learn how to forgive and move on and be professional at work. So that was a little bit about what happened in episode 1. So now we'll continue this story. Eva, tell us.
Yeah. We left off and I was still a mentor, I think. I hadn't grown in the company yet. Now, I do want to start off saying that this was like it was not a startup because it's a big corporation and it's global. But the offices were starting in Nicaragua. So there wasn't a lot of HR experience. And also there wasn't a lot of people in the department where I feel that they could have given the attention that was needed to a lot of things that were happening. By the time I left the company, we had grown from 48 agents to, I believe, over 800. So this is a really complicated... It's too many humans.
It was growing fast.
It was growing.
Even though it was a startup, it started in Nicaragua where you started very small. The growth of the company, it was exponential. It was super fast.
Yeah. So I also think, I don't know personally, for example, like the person that was in charge of human resources, but I could see that she was lacking in help, in having helping hands to handle so much activity. But regardless of that, I worked hard and I studied and I helped and I became a supervisor, I think at 4 months that I had started working. This was just my second job, but I am a nerd. So I get very intense and I just learned everything just because I wanted to grow, gain experience. So it was very interesting. I was a supervisor for about 10 months and then the opportunity came up. Since it was growing so fast, they were looking for a junior operations manager for the site where I was working. And so I went through that process and I was chosen to be junior operations manager, night shift. Yeah. Wow. And I was 24 years old. I was young. At that time, I was in charge of, it was about 250 agents on the night shift.
Wow. Quick question. Sorry. Do you had training every time you did these transitions, for example, when you became a mentor, when you became a supervisor, now you became a junior manager, every time that you moved through, you had trainings?
Yeah, for sure. There was, since it was already a big corporation, they had their own, they called it a university. It was on online courses for development within the company. So they taught you about the financials and how to do reports and how to grow and communication and all those things that I think are very common now. You can even, if you're a smaller company, you can hire maybe like Coursera or stuff like that can do that.
So do you think that training, going back to that university vibes, prepare you for those roles? I'm just wondering because you said HR was not really established. There's only one person questionably prepared and had a lot of work to do. So I'm wondering those trainings were sufficient for you to succeed in your company or in your new position, or you had to do the extra mile to really be good?
For being a mentor, there was no special training. I had just gone through the training to be an agent. and I picked it up fast. So they just asked me to help with answering
Okay.
questions. Then for the supervisor, when I got to supervisor, yeah, there was training. I wouldn't say like it was a specifically how to be a supervisor or how to be a coach, but that's when the university part started where I was required to do courses. And I always did more because I always felt that it's never enough. But yeah, and then when I went to the junior operations manager role, there was no training. And this is where I feel that the experience for me grew a lot more sour because there was so much competition too, right? And I guess it seemed weird that I would grow so fast. And I'm also very I don't like to socialize, but when I am socializing, I can have conversations, I can be fun, I can have relationships with people. So a lot of stuff started, getting icky in like the way people would react or just even talk to me. But then my senior operations manager and the other junior that was on the day shift, they were both males. And so since the beginning, the senior manager he was American. He was from New Mexico, and he was an ugly person inside, I believe. He would say that we were all monkeys and that he was going to be the president of the country because we were all monkeys and he was going to tell us what to do. It's something I'm not used to being around, to hearing these things.
Did he actually said it in front
Yeah.
of your face?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's not even like the worst. Like to me, the worst one was once we were in a meeting, the three of us, and the cleaning ladies passed by, and the senior asked the other junior manager who of the cleaning ladies he would sleep with. And I thought that was like so absolutely disrespectful to the cleaning ladies and to me, because I was there and I was hearing this conversation. There was absolutely no need.
Wait, I need to take a second because that is crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy that you had a leader person first being such an ass and thinking he's superior, but mostly the fact that he makes such comments in a way that he just doesn't give an F. Like he knows I'm untouchable. I could say whatever I want. You have to deal with it. I don't care if you're uncomfortable. I don't care if it offends you. Whether he was joking or he was whatever he was thinking in his mind, that is so disgusting.
Unacceptable.
Yeah, but it's not even that. Like, it's just, what comes to my mind is like people that come to third world countries, so people that don't know, Nicaragua is considered a third world country.
Yeah.
Think that, oh, I come from a first world country. It happens a lot. And they feel like this power or superiorness. I'm not saying that everybody does this. But sometimes in a third world country, you have someone, most likely male, to this country and be an ass and think they're untouchable. Because I'm pretty sure if he said that in New Mexico, in the plant or in the call center environment that he was, it would not have happened. And if it had happened, probably the employee would have formally report this and create all this situation because the United States have so many laws that protect employees. Central America, like in Nicaragua, there are poor laws. And even if there are laws, they're not really complying to. People don't really follow through. So I just want to make this very clear. That is bonkers.
Yeah.
And still happens, even though things have progressed, because let's remember Eva was very young. She just said she's like 24. But even still, like this is a situation that women in other countries, in third world countries, most likely or not, I think they'll face this type of situations.
Yeah. I think it's not as common anymore. And we're talking about 2008, 2010, and those years. But there has been a lot of changes. But for sure, I can say that information was also not readily available, which I think the laws are there here in the States, at least. The laws are there that you have to have information readily available to your workers for what they can do, what they need to report, whatever it is. But that was not available for me at the time. I was young and I thought I could handle this on my own. Like I didn't need anyone to come and help me handle this. And in the end, I saw them not only disrespecting me, but disrespecting so many other people there, like the other supervisors. I remember a story where they were giving out prizes to like the supervisor that had the best KPIs or whatever, that had the most growth. And there was this one girl who nobody really liked. I didn't like her, but I wasn't disrespectful to her. And so they gave away all the prizes and she had won one. And so they said, oh yeah, by the way, you won a prize, but we forgot to bring you something. And I just thought that was like, that broke my heart because this poor girl, nobody likes her already. There's no need to be so mean in public in front of your peers. It's so ugly. So by the time I quit, I had been going home, like my shift would end at midnight. I would go home to cry.
Wow.
So when I realized that, I was like, I'm staying here just because they pay me well. And I'm a junior operations manager and I feel so grand. But if I can do this, if I can grow this fast, if I can learn this much in an environment where I don't even feel safe, I can do this like in any other aspect of my life. Whatever, I have to choose something that even if it's not going to make me as much money, I have to be okay with what I'm doing. I have to feel safe. So I quit. I remember I quit. I wrote my letter and
what made you quit? Is it the whole overall, or it was like one situation you're just like, this is it? Like it burst the bubble that you've been holding because you just said that, I thought I was able to handle this. I thought I had to show up. But I would imagine that something have happened that you'd be like, never mind, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done.
I guess the last thing I was like, I can't do this anymore. It was Valentine's Day. And I had a boyfriend and it was that day my shift was supposed to end at 8 p.m. because it was like my half day. And he was going to go pick me up for dinner. And my other managers, they knew I had dinner plans. And so my boss decided that I couldn't take a half day and I couldn't go out to dinner. So I had to go and call my boyfriend and tell him that cancel the plans because I had to stay at work until midnight. And it really was, they didn't need me there. There was absolutely no need for me to stay. But he just, I guess, in his head wanted to make a point because he had already told me like there was a 3-month probation period for the position. And I did the 3 months. And at the 3 months, he said, I'm going to give you another month, but I already know what you're going to do on probation. So I was like, oh, okay. I really think they wanted me to quit because I was pushing away from the environment, I guess, they wanted to create.
Wow. So yeah, like strategically, yeah.
Things got not nice. We were not friendly anymore. At the beginning, we were friendly. In the end, it was just like, I don't want to have a conversation with you. So that to me was just like, oh, you're just being petty. What kind of grown up is this? Like, you're supposed to be leading 500 people under your wing. And this is the kind of space you're giving these people that you're supposedly training to grow within the company. And I know a lot of people that they made their careers out of this job and they were taken to like Panama or Colombia. Like I see like in LinkedIn, I have a lot of contacts still from that time. And I see that they grew, but I guess it's mostly men and it's mostly girls that were okay with taking it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I hope it's gotten better for everyone, but not from what I hear. But yeah, but I quit though. So when I wrote my letter, I wanted to be clear on why I was quitting, even though I had made no reports. I hadn't talked to anyone about how they purported themselves in front of people. I wanted it to be clear and I wanted it in writing that I had felt so disrespected and that the machismo and the misogyny in the workplace was not healthy. And it made me feel unsafe. I added that to my letter just as a comment, not as a reason to why I was quitting. And so I remember I handed it over to the HR lady, not to my manager, because he was the reason I was quitting. And so she was the director of HR. Like I said, in those days, I think they had 4 recruiters and that was their job. But barely anyone being a generalist. I could see she was overworked. So when I gave her the letter, she read it and she was like, oh, but you never told me anything. And I'm like, yeah, but you work here and you know. And she's, oh, is there anything we can do to get you to stay? And I'm like, I don't know what that means. First of all, I absolutely no idea. And I said, no, I just want to leave. I don't want this environment. I don't want to live like this. So she was like, oh, I'm going to accept your letter of resignation immediately. You don't have to give 2 weeks. You can just go home right now.
But I have a question. Is this the same lady that she kicked you out from mentorship without question?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So
I just find it very interesting that this lady in at your early stages of the company, she made if people are not aware, we're talking about, Eva had a mentorship program. In that first episode, she talked about this, but basically she was kicked off of a mentorship program and HR didn't do a proper investigation. They just took action. So someone said something about Eva was kicked out. HR did not do their job to investigate the actual problem. So I find it interesting that this same HR person now is saying to you, hey, can you stay? Hey, what can we do for you?
Yeah.
Find it very interesting. Just saying.
Yeah, I honestly don't know what her intention was with that question. I don't know if she was even really trying to get me to stay. Because I quit and then I ended up coming back to the company 3 months later because I needed a job. And
I'm sorry. Sorry. I did not expect that.
So what I did though was I applied they had opened a new site in a separate building with other people. And I applied at that site and I was hired because it's not like I was fired. I wasn't unhireable. So they hired me, of course. And I was like, I have the experience already. There's no need to wait. You can just, if you need a supervisor, hi. I was a junior operations manager already. So I got you. And so they told me you have to wait 3 months to be able to apply for another position. I was like, okay, I waited my 3 months. They opened positions. I applied. And then I went up to a supervisor and I told them, oh, I applied for this position. And I wanted to know what is needed of me to get this position. I can do an interview fine. That's not an issue. But what do I need to show to become a good candidate? And then I don't remember getting an answer from the supervisor, but at the end of the whole interview process, I was not selected. And the person that gave me the letter saying you're not selected was the girl that I had been like, it was her or me when I got the junior operations manager position. And she was really upset that I had gotten it and not her. She got the position in this new site. And then she gave me the letter denying the position to me. And she was like, next time, do better. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. It's just people being like disrespectful all over the place. Just people pushing you down always. It was crazy to me. I was really upset that day. I was like, I'm gonna take half a day. I'm leaving early. That's when I actually ended up deciding to move to Spain because I had all my savings. I sold my car and I ended up moving to Spain to study photography because I was like, no, I can't go back to a call center. That's insane. Wow. But so I quit because I had decided to move to Spain. And
can you pause for a second? Because I want to go back and say, that is crazy. Because you gave a second chance to a company that you know it was already toxic. But the necessity of you to work, the necessity that you need money, it led you to go back to a place that was terrible. Even inside, you had some little hope that this new location might be slightly better. And the fact that you came in and you met the same people from the other place and they still acted like high school. Yeah. For me, it's mind-blowing. It's just because it shows you, and you said it earlier, not earlier, like in the first episode, it spreads like a virus, toxicity. You said it very clearly. And I'm like, it clearly shows that even if you open a second headquarters or an office building, that toxicity virus just is coming in. And
it's within the company. And it's part of the environment. And it's hard to not have that when there's so many people. And how do, we're human.
I think, you know what it is too? I think you just said it. The HR were underdeveloped. There was no barely HR person. The person who was being an HR, who was supposed to be neutral or try to do things better, she sucked. She had no training whatsoever. Like people sometimes fall into HR roles by accident. That's how Eva fall into this role of starting a call center. She didn't say, I want to be working at a call center. I want to be a customer service. She didn't say that. She just got the opportunity and started that. A lot of people who becomes HR leaders, they have zero passion, zero skill sets.
Yeah.
They might be good at administrating HR things, like being compliant and following the policies and rules. But clearly, the person in this particular company that I was working on sucked big time. It bothers me because I think that's where, yes, the company was.
That's where HR gets a bad rep. No, and I have to say, and when I reapplied for the supervisor and they said no, they came back a week later and they were like, you know what? We're not going to ask you to. Oh, no, because they were like, oh, try again next time we open positions. And like, it was, I think 2 weeks later, they reopened positions again. And they were like, you don't need to apply. We'll give you the job, because they didn't have anyone. I had the experience. I have the knowledge. They didn't choose me just because they were being mean.
Retaliation mode.
When they needed me, they're like, oh, you don't need to apply. You don't need to go through the interview process again. You got the job. I don't want the job anymore.
Yeah.
I had already quit. I was doing everything that I wanted to do now, because I mean, not like I'm this big thing and I'm giving the company a chance, but I was giving the company a chance. And I know I'm a good worker.
Yeah.
I know that's what's needed. You know, so and the experience, like, for example, comparing all of that, like how HR was so uninvolved, uninterested, not there. And then comparing it now to my experience in the present, like where I'm working, like my desk is close to where the HR desks are. And I can definitely see like the interest that they have, or especially with the director. I hear a lot of people talking about HR always. And they're like, oh, because they're hybrid, so they don't spend all the time at the office. And so people are like, oh, I want to be like HR. Oh, look, they came late and left early. Oh, look, they just come twice a week. Oh, they're never here. The other day, the phone rang, and I just went, oh, is that the first call HR has ever received since I've been here? And they were like, shh. Oh, I'm sorry. But
funny.
But I do see it. I do see the interest. I do see that they're always in contact, staying in communication, giving us subjects to discuss. Like this month, in September. Yeah, this month it's communication. So in all the meetings, we also discuss better ways to communicate with each other, with our clients, with our sales partners that work outside, with other, I mean, I'm still in customer service.
You're good at it. That's why you're where you are.
I am.
You're good at it.
You're good at it.
Eva is damn good at being a customer service. I can see, because I have worked with her. Oh, big disclaimer. I think I have not mentioned this before in my first episode, but Eva and I did actually work together. We worked together in a remote company. It's called, and then I'm not going to say the name, but we did work together. We worked when we were in Nicaragua. We worked remotely. And so I can say and testify that Eva is a good customer service. She's really good at supervising and leading people to do their job good. Just going to say that. I think that is something to acknowledge. I can tell you that she is where she is at because of her hard work. So I find it interesting that you could see before and after contrast about HR. And I guess also that's because I know HR, it's very iffy-washy. So it depends on what type of employee you are. It also depends what type of relationship you have. So a lot of people perceive HR like, oh, they don't care. They're just here to fire me. You see HR, people start running away. So HR is telling people, let me go away this way.
That's true. No,
you don't want to see HR. But or if HR comes to you and be like, what did I do wrong? So I find it interesting that you see some sort of positive light about HR. But that takes time to acknowledge that.
Yeah. It's not like I've studied anything for HR. In college, I did business and marketing, but still, I think it's a really important job. And what's more important is selecting the right HR people to create the right environment. Because it does help. Now I see those provide you the information. If you need to report something, if something happened, if you saw something, like there's always training for you to be ready to be able to have the support you need. So
Yeah.
I think it's such an important job, and I understand that people disrespect it a lot, but I mean, like
Yeah.
managers will always be hated on by the people that they lead. There's always some kind of,
It's not understood. It's just like
yeah.
customer service. A lot of people don't see the hard part that comes with customer service.
Oh,
It,
yeah. And it is hard work. I mean,
yeah.
depending on what part of your customer service is for, but you have to be ready to solve problems. You have to have patience. You have to not take things personally. You have to dig deep into information to be able to find out details that not everyone is ready to look for. It is a lot of hard work. And in any company or in any business, like all the parts of it need to be able to work together. For sure, HR is key. It's key because they're the ones that are supposed to be able to see what is needed to improve or to maintain a good work environment so
Yeah.
that we make money for the company, because that's the whole idea. And if you want your company to make money, your workers have to be in an environment where they feel safe, where they feel included, where they feel listened. And that's where HR comes in for sure.
Yeah. I find it fascinating that you're fully aware and exposed to like the two different aspects of the two different companies and still in the same category of customer service.
Yeah.
But you see like, wow, when I was 24, 25, I was treated like a piece of meat per se.
Yeah.
Now I'm older, I could see how people treat me and value me and respect my position that I'm at. No matter what role I am, they're respecting me. I could see how they respect my other peers, no matter what role they are. And I think it's important because I think that's where you start seeing how your employee experience and your career changes according to the company that you're working. So just because you had a bad experience in a customer service job opportunity, in this company A, it doesn't mean it's going to be the same thing in the same role in company B. The company culture makes a huge difference and how you perceive the work environment and how you see or enjoy your job every day.
Yeah. And for example, when I was going through the process of finding the job that I have now, I did find several options where I did get job offers. And one of the biggest things that, like, actually the thing that made me decide to take the job where I'm at is that from the beginning, like from the first phone call, I talked to HR, I talked to the hiring manager, I talked to the director of customer service. Like I talked to a lot of people, and all the time it just felt like they were listening, like they were interested, like I'm there because not because I'm just another candidate, but I'm there and they're talking to me because this could be a match and we want it to work.
Right.
And still my coworkers are so great. And they have their own frustrations and stuff. And I hear them conversations. I don't want to get into people's private lives, but you share office spaces with people.
It was like if you only knew what it really means to be in a toxic place.
Right.
If you only knew what I went through.
You guys are in heaven. You guys complain. I tell them, but you guys are in heaven.
Yeah, it is
They're
interesting.
interested. They care about you.
It's setting expectations too, right? Because your expectations in the other call center at the beginning of your career, it definitely set the tone of what you thought would be working for the rest of your life in a call center environment. But now you look at it like, oh, my experience, yes, it's a terrible experience, but you learned. Now you are grown and you see things for like, well, definitely I just got it wrong. It was a golden opportunity, but inside was rotten. I don't know how to describe it. It's like, it looked perfect. It sounded perfect. They said the perfect thing. They learned me. I accepted it. And what made it go through so long was actually that you needed a job and you needed money and the opportunity to grow fast, which you saw in reality when you grow fast.
And I've always also had the privilege of being afforded these opportunities that I've taken. Sometimes people stay somewhere because they think there are no other opportunities, but it's important to keep your eyes open and your mind open to sometimes things don't look like opportunities and they are. And also sometimes you just have to risk it.
Yeah. Before I forget, you were mentioning, because I cut you off earlier, but you mentioned about going to Spain and doing photography. I just want you to share a little about what made you decide photography, because that's a bit completely off from customer service to photography. I'm curious. I wonder If you want to share a little bit about that.
I was always, it was always a hobby for me, photography. I think I started stealing my mom's camera like in 5th grade and just taking it to school, like taking pictures of my friends. And I remember all through school, like most of the pictures my classmates have are because I always had a camera with me. And then when in our senior year, the digital cameras had just come out and my dad got one and I stole that one. And there's pictures of everything we did senior year because I always had the camera with me and I was always taking pictures. But I always thought I didn't want to work in photography because I didn't want it to feel like an obligation because it would stop. I thought it cut the love that I had for it. So when it was like, oh, I need to leave this call center environment, it was just like, I'm not really passionate about anything else. There's nothing, like I wanted to learn too. I've been doing it, but it was always just
empirical, self-taught.
just whatever, just having fun. So I wanted to learn and I did. I went, I studied, spent a lot of money, had a good time. And then I worked in photography for about 11 years. I still have all my equipment, but it did end up being like, it sucked all the love that I had for the art. Like at the beginning, when I started working, I was doing artistic photography, which wasn't paid. I was just doing it for me. And I was doing like events, weddings, and all kinds of stuff. But it did end up taking my passion for it. So I decided to go back to customer service because I know I can do it. And I'm not looking to have a good time while I do it, so it's okay.
Yeah. You know what's so funny? I recently read a comment. I don't remember very well, but it was about like doing things that you're good at. It doesn't mean necessarily that you're passionate about it. So you found something you're good at. You're good at customer service. Yeah. It's not your passion. You're not saying I'm in love with customer service, but you're good at it. And you take advantage of that goodness that you have, that skill sets that you have. So I feel that it's important to people to acknowledge that in life when we work, sometimes you're not going to be able to do what you're passionate about for whatever reason. It just happens you can't do it as a full work. But if you discover something that you're good at it, like Eva did, she did customer. She knows she's good at customer service. She knows that she excels that. She takes that opportunity and maximizes it to her own benefits to grow. And she understands I'm not passionate, but I'm good at it. And that's something to acknowledge.
And at the same time, that is being passionate. If you're good at something and you're doing it right, and the passion is to do things correctly. It's not, oh my God, I feel so fulfilled doing customer service. It's not like I'm a doctor saving people's lives. Definitely not. But I do it, like the passion is, then I'm always going to do it right as far as I can.
It's an intrinsic motivator. It's an intrinsic motivator.
Yeah.
To make things right.
Yeah.
Mal, I thank you for sharing your horror stories about the call center. I don't know if you have anything else to say so we could close that chapter about your horrorness. If you want to say anything.
I think I said, I don't even want to remember. After this recording ends, I'm never thinking about it again.
You know what's so funny? It's like when we talk about things retrospectively and reflect upon it and how much we have gone through, it makes you feel appreciative of yourself because you're like, wow, I went through so much and now I'm in this position. I'm doing this. And I never expected I'll be having this type of new work. And I never expected I'll be here in town. So I think, you don't want to talk about it because it brings so much traumas in your past. But at the same time, it's, wow, Eva, you did all this. You did all this by yourself.
Nobody held my hand. I can promise you that.
Yeah. So, well, thank you so much, Eva. I appreciate you. Any tips before we go to our amazing audience? Do you want to say anything else?
Yeah. If you have a job and there is an HR department, be involved with them. It is important because it helps you have a good job or have an environment where you can do a good job. And if you don't have any experience with HR, just be open to it. Don't just listen to the horror stories. They really do help a lot. Just as always, stay with an open mind.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate hear someone advocating for my passion. HR. She's not biased, by the way. I did not tell her to say that, people, okay? She genuinely believes in HR.
I do.
No, she does, by the way. But no, yes, in all fairness, she's just being open. I just want to make this claim that also Eva is learning as she goes about HR, because I also talk about HR and the problems that I might face. So it is we learn from each other. At the end of the day, she's my friend. I call her, we talk about things, and she gives me opinions about things. That's what we talk about, and that's the best way to learn about HR. Thank you so much, Eva. I don't know if I'm going to bring you back another time. I genuinely love talking to you. I think we have a good time talking to each other. We laugh a lot. That's just because our dynamic people, we just... At work, before I leave, at work, every time we had conversations like in Discord, we would spend like, ha, 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 ha. For like half of our conversation, we're just laughing. But that being said, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. I will see you in the next episode, and stay tuned. Thank you, guys. Bye.